and players who will own the future, I would say. So it's great, yeah, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our first time that we play on clay. So
we know how the crowds are when Eala plays wherever she plays in the world. If Eala's going to win this one, she needs to be patient. I reckon it might be a little bit of a struggle. Grabher playing at home and also with that experience on clay, I think might get her a set, but I think Eala's going to win in 3 in the end and get to that second round and take on Ostapenko in this.
Julia Grabher, an Austrian tennis competitor, anticipated a straightforward and completely normal situation when she learned she would compete in her opening match at home. She believed the spectators would support her. She believed the applause would be directed at her. She believed the atmosphere of the arena would boost her performance and provide that vital home edge every athlete hopes for. However, what is now happening in Austria is entirely different from anything Grabher had envisioned. And the expression on her face reveals all that needs to be understood. Eala is arriving in Austria, and the supporters have fully dominated the scene. Reports now indicate that an incredible 90% of the seats for the first-round clash between Julia Grabher and Eala were taken instantly once sales began. And here is the element that makes this situation truly astonishing. Most of those seats were not bought by Austrian supporters coming to cheer for their local athlete. They were secured by Eala followers who have made it their goal to pack the venue and transform it into a wave of backing for the rising Filipino tennis star. Grabher is competing on her native ground in her own nation among her own citizens. Yet she will step onto that court and feel like the visiting player. That is the truth she must now deal with. And nobody expected this at such a scale. Consider what this represents for a moment. Grabher has dedicated years to developing her journey, representing Austria with honor and relying on that connection with the home audience to carry her through difficult contests. Playing at home in tennis matters. The known environment, the encouraging supporters, the ease of performing in a place where people recognize your identity and journey, all of that has disappeared. Instead, Grabher will walk onto the court and hear the strongest reactions going toward her rival. She will sense the force of thousands of supporters eager to win every point. And she will need to somehow ignore all of it and perform at the top level. That is a huge mental challenge to overcome. And it highlights just how influential the Eala effect has become. Because this is certainly not by chance. This is not something that occurred without reason. Eala supporters across the globe have been coordinating, preparing, and appearing in numbers that the sport has rarely witnessed before. As a collective backing one athlete, they are enthusiastic, they are organized, and they are completely committed to following Alexa wherever she competes. In Austria, they have achieved it again. And the competition is experiencing the consequences in every possible aspect.
Special year, and it's also our first time that we play on clay.
So tournament director Sandra Riel has been completely open about her opinion on this situation. Riel, who is managing the Ladies Linz Open as it marks its 35th anniversary, is genuinely thrilled to have Eala included in the lineup. She has clearly highlighted not only what Eala contributes as an athlete, but also what she represents as an international sensation. Riel admitted that Eala is drawing focus, excitement, and supporters to this event in a manner that is reshaping the entire competition. She has confirmed that Eala will compete on the largest court available, and that the environment surrounding her match will be unlike anything this event has experienced in its 35 years of existence. Riel even mentioned that she would personally greet Eala at the tournament, acknowledging the importance of the occasion. For a tournament director to express that kind of sentiment publicly, it is clear that something truly remarkable is taking place.
Always to welcome new players and newcomers and players who will own the future, I would say. So it's great, yeah, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our first time that we play on clay. So
while Riel is celebrating and supporters continue pouring in, Grabher is witnessing everything happen directly before her. The focus, the buzz, the admiration, the preferential treatment, all of it is being directed toward her rival. Grabher is not receiving any headlines. She is not enjoying the spotlight. She is being entirely eclipsed in her own surroundings. And that is a circumstance that would unsettle any athlete deeply. But here is the reality about Eala. This is not unfamiliar. This is merely the newest phase in a narrative that has been developing for months. Eala has been producing moments that the tennis world cannot overlook throughout the season. And the following that has formed around her is unlike anything the sport has seen in recent times. Earlier this year at the 2026 Indian Wells tournament, Eala made her first appearance, and the demand for seats to see her compete was so remarkable that prices soared to heights nobody anticipated. The outcome was $5 million in ticket revenue from a single contest, just one. That figure sent waves across the entire tennis scene and alerted everyone that something truly historic was unfolding around this young athlete from the Philippines. Event organizers at Indian Wells were unprepared for the sheer level of demand. They rushed to handle the crowds that had gathered at the venue, and analysts began using a term that has now become widely known across the sport: the Eala effect. It explains what occurs whenever Alex Eala appears somewhere. Ticket demand rises. Arenas fill up, the atmosphere becomes charged, and the attention the sport receives increases dramatically. From supporter involvement to media exposure to financial influence, the Eala effect is genuine. It can be measured, and it is becoming more powerful with every event she joins. On the court, Eala has been just as remarkable. This season, she has shown exceptional form, overcoming opponents of the highest level and proving that her ability matches the massive excitement surrounding her. One of the most discussed outcomes came against Coco Gauff, one of the biggest names in women's tennis today. The fact that Eala is competing with and defeating players of that level has only increased the buzz around her and given her supporters even more motivation to stand behind her with full passion. Jessica Pegula, one of the leading players on the WTA Tour, shared an honest description of what it feels like to face Eala in a tournament setting. Pegula has competed against many elite players in full arenas throughout her career. So she entered her match against Eala at the Miami Open expecting a strong environment. What she encountered was something entirely different. The crowd intensity was unlike anything she had experienced before. The spectators were not simply observing the match. They were experiencing every single point with Eala, responding to every winner, every exchange, every moment on the court with a level of energy and enthusiasm that Pegula described as unbelievable. She mentioned that regardless of where Eala competes, whether it is the Australian Open, the Dubai Tennis Championships, or the Miami Open, the crowd backing reaches levels that most athletes never feel in their entire careers. If a player with Pegula's experience and status can sense that level of influence from the audience supporting Eala, imagine what Grabher will feel stepping onto that court in her home nation, in her home event, and hearing those cheers directed to the opposite side of the net.
I mean, I played her when she kind of broke out last year in Miami, and I'm from there, and the whole crowd was against me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, where do these people come from? And then week after week, as she has done well and established herself as a really good player on tour, they all come out to support her. And so I think we saw that in Australia when it was kind of overcrowded. They put her on too small of a court. We saw it here. You can hear it from the hotel. You can hear the crowd roaring, especially at night.
It is a situation that only a handful of athletes in the history of the game have ever been forced to handle on their own ground. The financial side is being observed carefully. The ticket figures are being examined. The attendance totals are being tracked. And every indicator is leading to the same conclusion. Alex Eala is introducing something to tennis that extends beyond victories, defeats, and standings. She is creating a movement. She is driving a degree of loyalty and excitement that is reshaping events and completely altering the discussion surrounding the sport. Grabher now faces a challenge unlike anything she has encountered before. Not only against one of the most dynamic competitors on the tour today, but also against an environment, a momentum, and a surge of backing that shows no indication of fading. Austria anticipated a moment of local pride. What it is witnessing instead is an Eala moment, and those, as the tennis world is realizing week after week, are genuinely unforgettable. What are your thoughts on the remarkable phenomenon that Alex Eala has sparked in tennis? Have you ever witnessed an athlete attract this level of supporter dedication so early in their journey? Do you believe Julia Grabher can cope with the mental strain of competing in front of a crowd largely supporting her rival on her own home ground? Can Grabher achieve a surprise result and quiet the audience? Or will the Eala effect remain too strong even within Austria's own territory? Share your opinions in the comments below because this is a discussion the entire tennis community is engaged in right now.